There was a time when being a man meant knowing your role: provider, protector, leader. These were the pillars of traditional masculinity, not because someone imposed them, but because they were born from necessity: economic, social, and evolutionary. In a world of danger and scarcity, the traits we came to associate with manhood were often the difference between survival and collapse. But times change, and roles evolve. Today, many of those traditional functions have been disrupted. Strength has been replaced by automation, provision by dual-income households, authority by egalitarian ideals. And while much of this progress is worth celebrating, there's been a quiet consequence. A crisis not often named, but deeply felt. The slow erosion of masculine identity. Walk into any bookstore and you'll see it. Titles asking, "What happened to men? Where have the good men gone? Why are boys falling behind?" And it's not just culture speaking. The data echoes it. Boys now trail girls in nearly every measure of academic performance. Men are less likely to attend or graduate from college. Male suicide rates are significantly higher. Workforce participation among men has declined, even as job opportunities shift. And across Western societies, a growing number of men report feeling isolated, directionless, and disillusioned. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding what happens when old maps stop matching the territory, and no one hands you a new one. Traditional masculinity was never just about dominance. At its best, it gave men a sense of honor, purpose, and duty. It offered structure, rules to live by, a code. But when society began to rightfully challenge some of the harmful extremes, emotional suppression, stoicism at all costs, the stigma around vulnerability, we didn't always replace those values with something equally grounding. The result? A vacuum. One that's often filled by cynicism, nihilism, or extremes on either side of the ideological spectrum. Some say we need to return to tradition. Others argue we must dismantle it entirely. But perhaps the answer lies not in retreating or rejecting, but in reimagining. What if masculinity didn't need to be abandoned, but redefined? What if strength included the courage to feel? If leadership meant not commanding, but serving? If honor wasn't about external validation, but internal alignment? The men of the future won't be carbon copies of the past, and they shouldn't be. But they'll still need guidance, still need community, still need initiation into something deeper than consumption and competition. Because despite all our modern advances, the human need for identity and meaning hasn't gone away. It's only shifted. Think of the young boy today, growing up in a world telling him what not to be. Don't be toxic, don't dominate, don't suppress, but rarely showing him what to be. That ambiguity, if left unaddressed, breeds confusion, or worse, resentment. And that's the danger. When men feel unseen, misunderstood, or discarded, they don't just disappear. They either retreat or rebel. And in both cases, society loses something vital. Masculinity, when healthy, serves a purpose. It stabilizes. It protects. It builds. When distorted, it can destroy. But the solution isn't to erase it, it's to elevate it. This isn't just a men's issue. It's a cultural one, because when men lack a clear path, families suffer, communities weaken, civil discourse fractures, and future generations inherit the instability we fail to address. So maybe the question isn't, why is masculinity declining? Maybe it's, what do we want it to become? Not as a nostalgic return, and not as a reckless reinvention, but as an honest reckoning with the traits that made men valuable, and how they must now adapt to remain relevant. Masculinity is not toxic by nature, but like any power, it needs direction. It needs boundaries. It needs wisdom. And if we can give young men not just criticism, but a compass, then perhaps this decline isn't an end, but a transformation. One that all of us, regardless of gender, have a stake in shaping. Because when men rise with clarity and integrity, everyone benefits. Thank you for watching.